Welcome. You're going to go ahead right now and draft your first page growth plan. Or maybe this is not your first, maybe you're coming back to listen again later. This video is designed to help you quickly go through and draft all of the important core growth elements that are needed for growth. And the purpose of this exercise is to help you quickly and easily just write things down. Just trust your inner wisdom. The idea here is that you will draft your 4-page plan again and again. Every single version of your 4-page plan is a draft. So we get into this idea that we have to do things perfectly and it has to be forever, and it's not. When in business and in life, everything is about knowing where you are and taking the next brave step. And as long as you have a very clear future in sight and where you're going, which the plan is going to help you always connect and reflect upon, then you will be able to know your highest and best use and know the team's highest and best use. So let's go ahead and dive in. So we're gonna set a timer. We're gonna let ourselves have about 60 minutes. You're gonna give yourself permission to draft. Trust that the first quick iteration will create a breakthrough. Every iteration will create breakthroughs. Trust whatever insights and ideas come. Trust you already have everything you need. You don't need anything else. This will tell you anything else you need, but this is what you need right now. And know you will always be able to come back and iterate. There will be things about this that you're going to go to sleep, and over the next couple of days, there'll be things that your subconscious, your unconscious is going to keep working on, and you'll start to have insights in areas where you're not clear today, but you will be clear as time goes on. And give yourself the gift of imperfect completion. There's going to be some things here you just do not know the answer. Okay. And it's okay. That's all right. Know that it's safe to not know. Okay. This is the important piece about creating growth. It's okay to not know. It's also okay to guess. It's okay to just write something down and allow whatever comes. So that's what we are going to do right now. So the 4-page growth plan, you'll see here, you've got a template that you can download. I recommend you download 52 copies and then redo it every week. Believe it or not, the active writing it down, that neurological processing will help you program your brain to grow and to focus on the things that a CEO really needs to focus on, right? We focus on all kinds of stuff, usually not what really creates growth. These are the 4 pages, and it's really divided into the 4 critical areas of alignment that your company needs in order to grow. Okay, so that's what's super cool about this, is that it aligns you with the 4 areas: knowing your purpose, knowing who you serve, knowing your plan, and knowing your highest and best use. So the first page you'll see at the top is knowing your purpose. And then the second half of the first page and the whole second page is all devoted to knowing who you serve. And then the third and fourth pages are knowing your impact plan. So we're going to start. Ready? So just before you do, take a moment and just let your hands and your face and everything just be free. Let yourself be free. And trust, take a moment to breathe into your heart. Put your hands on your desk in front of you or whatever's in front of you, or your hands on your legs and your feet on the ground. And just take a moment to ground yourself and know that you have everything you need in this moment and every moment. Trust that beyond the part of you that is thinking and analyzing lives a part of you that is knowing, a part of you that is wise. And just let yourself know that part of you is present. That part of you is here right now. So as we step into the 4-page growth plan, go ahead and have it in front of you with your pen. And we're going to start out with the inception story. So in the first box, you're going to write down the story of how your company began. And you can just simply write we started the company when we discovered blah, blah, blah. There was a need for something and we wanted to fulfill it. And it's been our desire since the beginning to create whatever and for whomever. Go ahead and write it down. Now you're going to write your core purpose. And you already might have something like this. And so trust me when I just tell you, it's okay. You don't have to know. We're going to get deeper into this, but whatever you write down today is perfect. So what is the fundamental reason why your business exists? What is the hope of what you would like to deliver to your customers? What is the transformation you would like to midwife to those you serve? Write it down. Our purpose is to create, fill in the blank. Next, you're going to imagine that your business is 100 years into the future. So go ahead and calculate the date. 100 years from now. Your business between now and then has been creating good, growing in terms of impact, scale, and profit, transforming lives of everyone around you. So just take a moment and imagine what that future world would look like. So it's the picture of your future world of what becomes possible because your company exists. So just start it out by writing, our vision is a world where. Our vision is a world where. And you write what you see, what you've changed. In place of the things that we don't want, you see something that you do. So you write it in the positive. A world where hunger no longer exists. A world where sustainable products solve the carbon crisis. A world where every child learns to read. Next is your 10-year impact goal. Okay, so 100 years from now, you can start to imagine all that's possible. What would you want to create 10 years from now? What would that 10-year goal be? What would it look like 10 years from now? What is a specific goal? How many customers? And what would the impact look like? 100 customers, 1,000 customers, 1,000,000 customers experiencing X. That's a good way to start. How many customers by 10 years from now? And what is the transformation that they are going to experience? Write it down. You've got this. Okay, now. All right, core values in the Force for Good system are a little bit different than in others. Core values aren't just table stakes things you need to bring. They are a recipe for how your company achieves its mission, its purpose, its vision, its goal. So when you think about whatever you wrote down as the reason your company exists, your core purpose, you think about your core vision, your 100-year vision, when you think about what you're creating in the world, you think about your 10-year goal. What are 3 attributes or qualities that you need to bring every single day. And right now you can write more than 3, write 100 if you want, as many as you want. But what are the things that will produce that result? What are the very essential guiding principles, beliefs, values that need to be in place in order to create that kind of a goal and live out that purpose and live out that vision? A world where hunger no longer exists, or every child learns to read. What would be the things you would need to bring to the table? 3. Nice job. So now you've just created the know your purpose section. So just take a breath and move on to the next, who you serve. First, you're going to ask yourself who they are. You're going to ask yourself, who is my customer? And this is a clear description. This is a clear and simple description of who your customer is, of your authentic customer, including any psychographics and demographics. Soccer moms who long to have more joy and freedom, as an example, right? Who is your customer? CFOs who are overwhelmed with lack of information from their existing systems. CEOs who are trying to meet the needs of their private equity owners. Who are they? Write down who they are. Whatever you write is perfect. Perfect. And then you're going to write what they need. And don't worry, we don't do total available market, serviceable address market, and serviceable obtainable market first. We do the other first. So who they are, and then the next is what they need. These are your specific problems your authentic customer needs you to solve. So this is what your company needs to solve. It's specific wants, needs, desires, challenges, points of pain. What are the 3 challenges that they need a solution to? And it's a solution they'll pay a lot of money for. It's not something they kind of want. It's something that, like, oh my God, I would pay anything if you could solve this. It's not a vitamin, it's a painkiller. We need to know what that pain is to be able to really understand and drive not just marketing value, but to be able to innovate a solution in your company that is truly remarkable. You have to know what that pain is. And next is then a simple who, what statement. So it's a summary of the who they are and what they need. Simple declarative statement. Our company helps CFOs who are struggling to report information and data clearly to their board. And what we provide is a simple yet comprehensive technology solution that integrates all their data. Right? That could be a simple who, what, who they are, what they need. So who they are, and then what the core problem is. Take a chance, leap, write something down. You can change it later. All right, take a deep breath. The next thing you're going to think about, you're going to sort of like, all right, so now I'm going to look at sort of a bigger picture where we're looking at who they are, what they need, problem solutions. Now we're thinking big picture about what's happening in the world. So we look at the sort of bigger picture reasons why your solution, your company needs to exist. So trends, macro trends, are the larger market trends that validate the need for your company. There's only 3% of women founders achieve $1 million of revenue or more. This is a trend that creates a need for the Force for Good system. So what's a similar trend that could demonstrate that your company is needed? And maybe you don't know what the specific facts are, but you know generally, and you could write down something's happened with that AI that's disrupted. Something's happening in the economy. Something is happening that's causing this need. And then what are the triggers? Triggers are the specific moments in time when a customer needs your solution. So right before the board meeting, dang, that's the moment that the CFO is pulling her hair out, trying to figure out how I'm going to put this data together for my CEO and for my board. So what are those moments? Preparing for your board meeting, right? Getting ready to have an investor meeting. So think about what are those moments in your customer's life that produce this. Those are the triggers. So write down a trend and write down a trigger. You can't do it wrong. Then you're going to go back up to the total available market, total serviceable addressable market, and the serviceable attainable market. I like for you to think about who they are first and then come back and say, okay, so who is my market? So the total available market, the total revenue opportunity available if your product or service achieved 100% market share in the entire industry. So if you were building a consulting business, then you might go and find research that says there's $52 billion in the whole business. Or maybe you're selling hair care and the whole hair care is $127 billion, right? You can go to ChatGPT and probably find some of this. And we'll talk about this more in modules. But just guess, how big is your business? What is that market? What is your market? How would you describe it on a really grand basis? Then what's the serviceable addressable market? The portion of the total available market that your product or service can target over its lifetime, the company's lifetime. So what is that SAM that you're going to say, this is the universe we want to focus on? Maybe we're not going to focus on all of the businesses out there. We're going to focus on those that are in financial services, those that have between 100 and 1,000 employees and are in the financial services. That could be a serviceable addressable market. And then you're going to think about the next, which is kind of where am I going to target now over the next couple of years? The portion of your SAM that you can realistically capture considering your competitive advantages and market reach. So I like to think about it over a 10-year period. What is that SAM, right? What is that market you could penetrate? I'm looking to get 3% of the total US market that of consulting, serving companies from 100 to 1,000 employees and in financial services. So you might equate it some way like that. So what's that total market that you want to service that in 10 years you could service? So now breathe and trust whatever is showing up for you. And notice how your brain is, it's like going into like, oh, there's moments you feel good and there's moments you feel overwhelmed. But these are the questions that are going to unlock growth. So write down whatever comes, trusting yourself that it's plenty for right now. All right, so the next is what you offer. So it's a short, clear description of what you sell, right? You need to be able to say, I sell financial aggregation software. I sell shoelaces for children. What is it you sell? Write it down. And now it's important to always have a sense of your competition. In the modules, we'll talk more about this. Competition is very important to know about. We can collaborate with our competitors. We can learn from our competitors. And also our competitors demonstrate that we have a market. So who are 3 other options, other companies out in the market that are serving the same market as you? So these are the other options available to authentic customers most closely resemble your company. Write 3 down. The next statement is a position statement, and it's a declaration that summarizes your brand's unique value and its promise to the market. So it's saying, I serve this market with this particular benefit. I serve this market of children learning to tie their shoes, and I do so in a way that is fun and playful and builds confidence. So this is how you're positioning yourself. And we'll do there's a whole wonderful tool around positioning. But just take a chance and write something down. Next is your area of chosen greatness. And I love this one. This one is the unique strength that you choose to excel in, which sets your business apart and fulfills a key customer need, and where you're going to invest 10 times the energy and resources to make sure it's remarkable. So what's the area you want to be great? Trust whatever comes. Takes years for this to really truly evolve and discovered, be excavated, but write down whatever you feel would be how you want to be great as a company. Our customers are coming to us because they have a problem and they need a solution. They're looking for our purpose to be fulfilled. And so as they go through the journey, they're going to start to feel new feelings. They might come to us feeling frustrated or angry or confused. And at the end of our journey and throughout the journey, we want to cultivate feelings of confidence or security or pleasure or joy. So identify what are the feelings your customer is wanting to feel. So how do they feel when they're in pain and they're having the problem you already wrote down, what they need problem, and what would be the opposite of that? 3 feelings. The more specific you can be about the feelings, the better, but we'll get to that. 3 good feelings. The next one is impact mantras. And these are things that you discover as you're leading your company that you say that are guiding phrases you engender with your team about how we work together. I always say, catch people doing the right thing. Catch people doing the right thing. Like, in other words, always be looking for ways to praise people, right? It could be something like listening for people's unmet wants and needs. This was one I've also had in my business at Illume. Listening for unspoken wants and needs, listening for that. How can I support you is a mantra. It's a way that we always use over and over again. We train on people to say, how can I support you? Somebody's upset. How can I support you? Rather than defensiveness, how can I support you? So what are your guiding phrases you repeat with your team to keep priorities top of mind and support the team's purpose? Just write a few down. It's a whole exercise you can do later on. And it's fun. That'll be fun. And then there's 3 customer improvements. At all times, we are always improving the customer experience because lives of customers change, because the industry changes, because there's disruption. We always can improve our product or service in fulfilling the transformation or purpose that it's meant to provide. So at any given time, the 3 areas your team is focusing on making improvements. What are 3 improvements you'd like to make? Maybe it has to do with your customer service. Maybe it has to do with your product. Maybe it has to do with the way you onboard a new customer. Maybe it has to do with the way you're selling and communicating with your customer. Write 3 improvements down. Good job. Good job. All right, next is knowing your product and service list. So now we're jumping to the top of the next page. We're going to jump to the top page 2, and here's where you're listing your products or product lines. And you're going to list what you sell, and then you're going to start to write down what the unit price is, the unit cost, gross margin. Okay. So knowing these numbers, again, take a deep breath and guess if you don't know, right? And then you want to have a sense of how many TTM stands for trailing 12 months, how many you have sold of each product, how many units you sold in the last 12 months. Guess how many customers you've sold to in the last 12 months. your revenue for each product and total over the last 12 months. Just guess, 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 guess. And then you can do some quick math around your average revenue per customer for each product. And then you can start to think about how much your total cost of goods was for each product over the last 12 months. And that might be harder for you to guess, but you might be able to roughly. And again, if the answers are coming quickly to you, it's because this is an area where you are adept. If it's not, it's okay. It's pointing you that this is an area that as you improve this, you're going to get better at increasing impact, scale, and profit. It is not a reflection that there's anything wrong, because nobody's going to get all these answers, right? And then, well, this is exposing an area where you can focus your attention. So we look at total COGS, total gross margin, and then total margin per product. And this information we'll use going forward, but hopefully if you start to get it and write it down, and maybe this week you'll decide you want to go and run some reports and find out for sure what the numbers are. But this is going to give you so much power, because it's going to help you see what generates profit. So what either do you know because you just wrote it down and you can see it, or what do you believe is generating profit? So star which product has the highest gross profit per unit. So every time you sell it, has the highest gross profit. And it may or may not be the one that also generates the most gross profit for your company. So circle which product generates the most gross profit total in the last 12 months. So star the one with the highest gross profit, and circle the one that produced the most in the last 12 months gross profit. Next, we have our growth model. It's based on your estimated average revenue per customer. So when you think about the average revenue in a year that I get from one customer, and just write that down for yourself right now. And if over $100,000, we would consider it a whale. If it's 10,000 or to 100,000, somewhere in there, it's probably a deer. And if it's somewhere above 10, but under 10K per year, it's probably a rabbit model. And if it's $100 and up to 1,000, it's a mouse model. And so how we grow a company, and that was very different depending on what the average revenue per customer is. And the growth model that we would use is different. So go ahead and select which growth model it is. Are you a whale, a deer, a rabbit, or a mouse? And later on, we'll dig into that. Just start to know your numbers. So this next section is, what is your current average revenue per customer per year? So just guess right now. Say it's $1,000 revenue. Then you would say, how many customers do I need to get 100,000? So that would mean you need 100 customers, right? And then how many would you need to get 1 million? How many customers would you need in order to create 10 million in revenue? And how many customers would you need to create 100 million? So this is starting to help you understand what growth looks like. Just take it in and pick which growth model, and approximately how many customers you need in order to create 100,000 in revenue, $1 million in revenue, 10 million, and 100 million. The customer enrollment funnel, very important piece. So this is the mechanism where you attract, engage, enroll, and retain your customers. And so this is where you automatically elevate your relationship with those you serve, and you take them and you move from suspect to prospect to offers to new customers, and new customers to satisfied customers and loyal ambassadors. So what we're looking at here are the ways that you shine your light in order for customers to find you. So these are the top of the funnel things: social media, maybe you go to events and conferences. How do new customers find you? What are the ways your business is out there generating leads? Referral sources could be that. My business is largely, it was all referral sources. So how do you do that? What does that step look like? Shine your light channels, ads in different places, perhaps. And then once they find you, then the next thing you want to do is deliver a profound experience before they buy from you. So what are those profound experiences? They could be opt-ins of various kinds, reports, assessments, free trials, anything like that. It could be meetings, specific meetings where you propose a solution to them. And then what are all the other ways that you invite them? And if it's a whale type, you might need to work on that sale for years. If it's a mouse, you're going to have very different ways of marketing. It's all going to probably be electronic and social and technology driven versus person-to-person driven. So what are those ways that you deliver experiences? And then how is it that you ask them to be your customer? It could be just simply a sales page, or your trial has run out, or it could be a more involved day-long pitch if you're doing a multi-million-dollar sale, for example. Then what are the ways that you connect and nurture? So what you're doing here is you're just writing down all the ways that you do each of these things: shine your light, deliver profound experiences, invite them to be your customer, and connect and nurture ongoing. And then you also have a way to measure each of those stages. And so that's where we go into the next piece down below, the 12-month customer enrollment goal. So you want to set some goals for 12 months out. So write the date for 12 months out. And then think about at the top of the funnel, you're creating suspects that move into prospects, into qualified prospects, into customers, into loyal and satisfied ambassadors. The easiest way is to start with customers. How many customers do I want to be able to generate 12 months from now, right? How many customers do I want to be able to bring in? Write that number down. And then say, okay, well, in order to get that many new customers, how many prospects would I need to have? Right? How many people that sign up for my opt-in or sign up for a free meeting or do a free trial, whatever it is, how many would need to sign up in a month? And then how many suspects would you need? So how many would have to see a social media ad, or how many would have to meet me at a conference at my table or see me speaking at another event? So how many customers, how many prospects, and how many suspects would you need? This is helping you determine what your 12-month customer enrollment goals are. And it's helping you see what you need to do to build a funnel that creates and produces that result. And so then the last thing here at the bottom is the percent of suspects to prospects and the percent of prospects to customers. So you always want to improve the conversion rates. If 50% are converting, maybe you want to move it to 60%. If 10% are converting, maybe you want to move it to 20. Where is it now and where do you want it to go? If you don't know, it's okay. It's fine. It's part of what you're going to unlock. And now we're going to focus on the impact plan. So we're going to think about this in terms of 10 years. You already have a 10-year impact goal. You set it earlier when we were looking on page 1 of your purpose section. So go ahead and write it down again. 10-year impact goal. This is the specific 10-year goal, perhaps the number of customers that you want to serve and the transformation you want them to experience. And then the next is a question about 10-year scale and 10-year profit goals. So this is where you're going to consider how many customers do I want to serve 10 years from now, and what's my profitability? Identify how many customers I want to serve, how many units sold I want to sell in a year, 10 years from now. What do I want my total revenue to be? What do I want my average revenue per customer to be? And then you want to think about profitability goals. So this is where you're thinking about what's my gross profit margin. So I have my product and I sell it for revenue, and then there's costs associated with delivering it. So what's the gross profit margin that I want to have 10 years from now? Total gross profit per year. So how much gross profit dollars do I want to have in 10 years? And how much total operating expenses? So how much operating expenses do you have now? And in order to serve your bigger scaled out company, how much will it cost you to operate in 10 years? And then what will be the net profit margin and total net income that you'll have? So you'll have your revenue minus your gross profit minus your operating expenses equals your net income. If this is all jumbled, don't worry. Write down whatever you wish you could have that you're familiar. You can write down, I want 5 million of net income in 10 years or 20 million of net income, whatever the number is. You can write down whatever you feel comfortable knowing. All right, take another deep breath. And now we're going to move into the next section. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to assess where you are. And this is where you are going to look to 3 of our assessments. We have a stage assessment, the growth readiness score, and the traction score. So first you're going to say which stage you're in: existence, survival, scaling, and impact. What your overall growth readiness score is, and then what your purpose score is, your who you serve score, and your impact plan score. And then you're going to find out by doing the traction scores, you're going to understand overall what your traction score is. And you're also going to see what's your customer discovery score, what's your minimum viable product score, what's your customer validation score, what's your product market fit score, what's your go-to-market strategy score, and what's your scaling score. And this is going to help you see your strengths and your opportunities and places you can grow. So continuing to assess, you're looking at your profit and loss statement here. So you're going to see what your total units were, your revenue, your COGS. You're going to look to see what it was last year, what it is year to date, what it is for the last 12 months, trailing 12 months, and what your run rate is right now. And if you have a forecast and a budget, you're going to put it in there: total units, revenue, COGS, gross profit, etc. So this may be information you're going to need to go and get somewhere else. But whatever you can fill in, go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and do that right now. And then the forecast and budget is the same, right? You're going to do whatever you can, whatever you know about your forecast and budget for this year and for next. Write down whatever you know. And now, take a deep breath. And we're going to look at the next piece, which is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. So think again about your 10-year impact, scale, and profit goals. What are the strengths that you can bring to the table, your company can bring to the table to grow impact, scale, and profit? Write down 3 strengths. What are 3 weaknesses? Maybe it's a system. Maybe there's friction. Maybe there's a lack of a particular skill. What's holding back growth? Maybe there's software that's needed. Maybe there's measurements that are vague. And then look to see what are just some opportunities. Write 3 down. What are your company's 3 biggest opportunities that, when leveraged, will create the most momentum? Right now, don't worry about it. Just write 3. And what are some of the big threats your company is facing? The dangers out there that you need to consider, the risks and dangers that could impact, scale, and profit. All right, so now you know where you are. So you've got your 10-year goals, your 10-year impact plan, 10-year scale, 10-year profit goals. You know where you are, right? You can see your profit and loss generally. You kind of have a sense of what stage you're in, how well you know your purpose, how well you know where you serve. And now you have a sense of your P&L from the last year. You know it in words, what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. So now you're going to build your plan, your how I'm going to get from where I am today to that future state. So we're going to create a 10-year chronological strategy first. 3 steps. The first 3 years, we're going to do this. Second 3 years, we're going to do that. And in the last 3 to 4 years, we're really going to focus on this. So write it down. First, we're going to focus on improving this and growing this. And then because we have that, we're going to go ahead and really enter into this next thing. And then finally, we're going to grow, and hit our 10-year impact scale and profit goals. And this is how we're going to do it. So chronologically, first 3 years, second 3 years, third 3 years. After that, you're going to think about strategic priorities. What are you going to focus on throughout? What 3 to 5 things do you want to keep front center of mind all the time? What are the keys to your growth? It's a blend purpose, impact, profit priorities that need to maintain in the years ahead. It's good to have maybe your average revenue per customer. You want to grow that. Maybe there's a gross profit margin you want to grow. Maybe there is a improving constantly a particular part of your sales funnel, marketing funnel, enrollment funnel. Maybe there is focusing on a certain aspect of your product or service that will be super transformational and that leans into your area of chosen greatness, right? So pick a few strengths and priorities that will help you get to your goal. Okay. Good job. Now we're going to map it out where you're going to be, some goals, 3 to 5 goals, where you'll be, assuming you follow this plan, follow this strategy, where are you going to be in 3 years? So go ahead and write down 3-year milestones. Start with the date, 3 years from now, December 31st, 2028, 2027, 2028, whatever you choose. And what are those 3-year milestones? What does that look like? What 3 things do you want to achieve between now and then? And then 1 year. It can either be 1 year from now, or it could be 1 year to your calendar, to your fiscal year. Between now and then, what do you want to achieve? So the strategy is giving you words to describe how you're going to grow. Answers the question how you're going to grow. The milestones depict what that strategy looks like in 3 years and in 12 months. And now you're going to choose one goal, a 12-month company-wide goal that will really move everything forward. Select your 12-month breakthrough goal. And we spent some time, we spent a whole module on the 12-month breakthrough goal. The single most important company-wide goal for the next 12 months, goal that will move the company forward most profoundly, accelerating impact, scale, and profit. And then go ahead and write down your quarterly goals, 3 company goals to achieve each quarter. You can see, how do I get to the 12-month breakthrough and the 12-month milestones? What are the goals I want to set over the next year by quarter? And then what we're going to do is, the last but not least, is think about how you want to measure success. All right. So what are the key measures that you want to measure every week in order to make sure you achieve your impact, scale, and profit goals, and to ensure to make sure you achieve your 12-month company-wide breakthrough? So what are the specific metrics? Could be units sold. Go back and look at your funnel. Could have to do with the number of prospects, the number of meetings you have, the number of new trials you engender. Write down the things you want to measure and will help you create progress. 4 pages. You did it. You thought about a lot of things, the puzzles of growth. All right. And all that's going to help you. You've also thought about sequence. Just take a moment and acknowledge that. You thought about sequence, thought about all the changes that need to occur in order to create a new result. So take a moment now and just acknowledge yourself. Really acknowledge yourself for the journey you just took. Notice the new wisdom and insights you've already received. There's probably some unknowns. There's some gaps. Allow yourself the space to be fascinated and curious about those gaps rather than having any other kind of judgment about it. Which questions were hard? Which were easy? Just observe. That's helping you understand where your unique strengths are, and where you're probably going to need others is where you're facing challenge, right? Like you probably are going to need somebody to help you on your team round out the questions that are hard for you. And notice overall your strength in knowing your purpose, knowing who you serve, knowing your impact plan. And just start to get a sense of how all this information is helping you already see what you need to do. What are the things you need to focus on? What's the puzzles that need to be solved next? What's your highest and best use? So just know and plant the seed that in the coming days and weeks, you have now opened your wisdom. You've opened the channels of wisdom, and your brilliance is now going to start unlocking these puzzles and helping you resolve these challenges so that you can be a force for good and create all the change and the envisioned positive goodness in the world that you imagine. So trust and settle in that what you've created is absolutely brilliant and plenty and enough. And know that you can come back to it. So the 4-page growth challenge is really about the next steps, which is to print out the 4-page growth plan, blank copies, and redraft it every week. You can do it once a month and you'll expect double-digit growth. If you do it every week, you're going to experience exponential growth. You almost can't help yourself. You're going to unlock the puzzles of growth when you do this. You're going to pour your energy and your wisdom into the things that create growth. You're going to start inviting your team to solve the problems with you that will help you grow. You're going to have a simple way for you to talk about what you're trying to do and align together. And just start to imagine, what if you were to meet with your team on a weekly basis? You did great. Take a moment, go get a drink of water, refresh, and acknowledge yourself. You've just moved mountains. You've taken the time to listen within, and now you're ready to go and create powerful results.